Stress management and sleep. Understanding the critical link for holistic health. Introduction. In the whirlwind of modern life, stress is no longer an occasional visitor. It has become a constant companion. Whether it's the relentless deadlines at work, the pressures of family responsibilities, the uncertainties of financial stability, or the ceaseless bombardment of information from screens and social media, stress quietly and persistently gnaws away at our mental and physical health. Yet despite its omnipresence, many underestimate just how deeply stress affects the very foundation of our well-being, sleep. Sleep is often mistaken as a mere pause in consciousness, a time when the body simply shuts down. But in reality, sleep is a dynamic, essential biological process, where our bodies and minds embark on a profound journey of restoration and renewal. During sleep, damaged tissues heal, memories consolidate, the immune system recharges, and vital metabolic processes balance themselves. It is the cornerstone upon which our cognitive sharpness, emotional resilience, and physical vitality rest. However, chronic stress disrupts this delicate process. When stress is triggered, whether by real dangers or perceived threats, the body activates the fight or flight response, flooding the bloodstream with stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. While this response is life-saving in the short term, sustained elevation of these hormones wreaks havoc on our ability to fall asleep and remain in the deep, restorative stages of sleep. The mind becomes restless, the body remains on high alert, and the tranquility required for rejuvenation is shattered. This interplay creates a vicious, self-perpetuating cycle. Stress impairs sleep, and poor sleep amplifies stress sensitivity. Over time, this cycle can lead to chronic insomnia, emotional instability, impaired cognitive function, and a heightened risk of serious health problems such as heart disease, depression, and metabolic disorders. Yet, understanding this critical link between stress and sleep opens the door to meaningful change. By exploring the science behind this relationship and embracing practical, evidence-based strategies for managing stress, we can reclaim restful nights and restore balance to our lives. The biological dance between stress and sleep. Stress and sleep are governed by complex neurochemical systems in the brain that constantly communicate and influence each other. The hypothalamic pituitary adrenal (HPA) axis, which controls our hormonal stress response, directly interacts with the brain's sleep-regulating centers. When under stress, the HPA axis stimulates the release of cortisol, known as the stress hormone. While essential for mobilizing energy and focus, excessive cortisol, especially in the evening or at night, disrupts the body's natural circadian rhythm, the internal clock that signals when to be awake and when to sleep. Elevated cortisol delays the secretion of melatonin, the hormone responsible for inducing sleepiness, leading to delayed sleep onset and fragmented sleep cycles. Moreover, stress increases brain activity in areas associated with worry and rumination, often causing racing thoughts that make it difficult to switch off at bedtime. This heightened cognitive arousal prolongs the time it takes to fall asleep and reduces the quality of slow-wave sleep and REM sleep, stages critical for physical repair and emotional processing. On the flip side, adequate sleep acts as a natural regulator of the stress response. Deep, uninterrupted sleep lowers cortisol levels and calms the nervous system, enhancing our ability to manage stress effectively during waking hours. Without this restorative sleep, the brain's capacity to cope diminishes, leading to heightened emotional reactivity and vulnerability to stressors. The far-reaching consequences of the stress-sleep cycle. The toll of chronic stress and poor sleep extends beyond feeling tired or irritable. It permeates every aspect of our lives. Mental health. Anxiety and depression are tightly linked to sleep disturbances. The inability to sleep exacerbates negative emotions, while stress-induced sleep loss fuels the persistence of mood disorders. Cognitive performance. Memory, attention, and decision-making suffer. The brain struggles to process information or regulate emotions, impairing work productivity and interpersonal relationships. Physical health. Prolonged activation of the stress response and sleep deprivation increase inflammation, impair immune function, and raise the risk for hypertension, heart disease, obesity, and diabetes. Quality of life. Chronic fatigue and emotional distress diminish motivation, social engagement, and overall life satisfaction. Recognizing this interconnected web is the physiology of stress and its impact on sleep. Stress is an inherent and essential part of human life, a powerful biological mechanism evolved to protect us from danger. When our brain perceives a threat, whether physical or psychological, it activates a complex cascade of physiological responses designed to prepare the body for rapid action. This fight-or-flight response is orchestrated primarily through two major systems, the sympathetic nervous system, SNS, and the hypothalamo-pituitary-adrenal HPA axis. Activation of the stress response. The SNS responds almost instantaneously. It signals the adrenal glands to release adrenaline, also called epinephrine, a hormone that increases heart rate, elevates blood pressure, dilates airways, and sharpens sensory awareness. This immediate surge in adrenaline equips the body to either confront the threat or flee from it. Simultaneously, the HPA axis engages a slower but sustained response. The hypothalamus in the brain releases corticotropin-releasing hormone, CRH, which stimulates the pituitary gland to secrete adrenocorticotropic hormone, ACTH. ACTH then prompts the adrenal cortex to produce cortisol, often dubbed the stress hormone. Cortisol's role is multifaceted. It mobilizes energy by increasing glucose availability, suppresses non-essential functions like digestion and reproduction, and modulates immune activity to prioritize survival. Acute versus chronic stress, the double-edged sword. In acute, short-lived situations, this stress response is adaptive and life-saving. After the perceived danger passes, feedback mechanisms reduce hormone levels, allowing the body to return to a resting state. However, when stress becomes chronic due to ongoing work pressure, unresolved emotional conflicts, or prolonged anxiety, this system remains activated persistently. The body stays in a state of heightened alertness, which, while protective in the short term, becomes detrimental over time. Chronically elevated cortisol levels, especially during the evening and night, directly interfere with the processes necessary for healthy sleep. Normally, cortisol follows a diurnal pattern, high in the morning to promote wakefulness and gradually declining throughout the day to reach its lowest point at night, enabling the onset of sleep. When cortisol remains abnormally high at night, it delays sleep initiation and fragments sleep architecture. Impact on sleep stages and quality. Sleep is composed of multiple cycles that alternate between non-rapid eye movement, NREM, and rapid eye movement. Slow-wave sleep, SWS, part of NREM, is the deepest and most restorative phase, critical for physical healing, immune function, and memory consolidation. REM sleep, often associated with dreaming, is essential for emotional regulation and cognitive processing. Stress disrupts both these crucial phases. Elevated cortisol and adrenaline increase brain activity and physiological arousal, making it difficult to transition into deep sleep stages. Studies have shown that individuals experiencing chronic stress spend less time in SWS and REM sleep, leading to lighter, less restorative sleep. This causes feelings of fatigue, impaired concentration, and emotional instability during waking hours. The role of circadian rhythms and melatonin. Our sleep-wake cycle is governed by the circadian rhythm, an internal biological clock located in the suprachiasmatic nucleus of the hypothalamus. This clock synchronizes physiological functions, including hormone secretion, body temperature, and sleep propensity, to the 24-hour day-night cycle. Melatonin, secreted by the pineal gland in response to darkness, is a key hormone that signals the body to prepare for sleep. Stress can interfere with melatonin production through elevated cortisol levels and sympathetic activation, disrupting the normal circadian rhythm. For example, cortisol can inhibit the release of melatonin, delaying the natural increase that promotes drowsiness and sleep readiness. Moreover, stress-induced hyperarousal affects brain regions involved in sleep regulation, such as the thalamus and brainstem, altering neuronal firing patterns that help initiate and maintain sleep. This results in common symptoms like difficulty falling asleep, sleep onset insomnia, frequent awakenings, sleep maintenance insomnia, or waking up feeling unrefreshed despite adequate time in bed, non-restorative sleep. Psychological factors, the mind's role in sleep disruption. Beyond physiological mechanisms, stress profoundly impacts the psychological processes that influence sleep. When anxious or stressed, the mind. Consequences of chronic stress and sleep disruption. A cascade of impact on mind, body, and life. When stress becomes chronic and sleep is persistently disrupted, their combined effects ripple across every dimension of human health: cognitive, emotional, physical, and social, creating a complex web of challenges that often feed back into each other, worsening the overall condition. Cognitive impairment, the fog that clouds the mind. One of the earliest and most insidious consequences of prolonged stress and poor sleep is a marked decline in cognitive function. Sleep deprivation alone has been shown to impair key brain processes such as attention, working memory, executive function, decision-making, and problem-solving abilities. These functions are critical for navigating everyday tasks, from managing work responsibilities to making sound judgments. Stress intensifies these impairments. The overactivation of the stress response floods the brain with cortisol, which, in high amounts, can damage areas such as the hippocampus, a region central to memory formation and retrieval. The result is often a persistent state of brain fog, a vague but troubling sensation of mental cloudiness, forgetfulness, difficulty focusing, and slowed thinking. This cognitive dysfunction does not only affect professional performance, but also interferes with learning, creativity, and the ability to adapt to new situations. The cumulative burden may lead to frustration, reduced self-confidence, and a feeling of being overwhelmed, further fueling stress and perpetuating cognitive decline. Emotional dysregulation, the heart's turbulent storm. Beyond cognition, the emotional landscape is profoundly affected by the interplay of chronic stress and disrupted sleep. Poor sleep compromises the brain's ability to regulate emotions effectively, making individuals more vulnerable to anxiety, depression, irritability, and mood swings. Sleep deprivation reduces activity in the prefrontal cortex, the brain's control center, while amplifying responses in the amygdala, the emotional processing hub, resulting in heightened emotional reactivity. Simultaneously, chronic stress primes the nervous system to remain in a state of hypervigilance, amplifying sensitivity to emotional triggers. This heightened state often manifests as impatience, frustration, heightened fear, and feelings of helplessness or hopelessness. The combined effect is a volatile emotional state, where minor setbacks feel overwhelming and resilience diminishes. Such emotional instability can strain interpersonal relationships, lead to social withdrawal, and, in severe cases, contribute to the development or worsening of psychiatric disorders. Physical health decline. The body bears the brunt. The physical consequences of chronic stress and inadequate sleep are far-reaching and potentially life-threatening. These two factors act synergistically to accelerate deterioration across multiple bodily systems. Cardiovascular system. Prolonged stress and sleep deprivation elevate blood pressure, increase heart rate, and promote inflammation within blood vessels. Over time, these changes significantly increase the risk of hypertension, atherosclerosis, heart attacks, and strokes. Metabolic health. Disrupted sleep interferes with glucose metabolism and insulin sensitivity, contributing to obesity and the development of type 2 diabetes. Stress exacerbates these metabolic disturbances by promoting unhealthy eating behaviors and altering hormone levels. Immune function. Both stress and sleep loss weaken immune defenses, reducing the body's ability to fight infections and recover from illnesses. This impaired immunity also increases vulnerability to chronic inflammatory conditions. Musculoskeletal health. Fatigue and muscle tension associated with stress and poor sleep can lead to chronic pain syndromes, headaches, and reduced physical mobility. The cumulative burden of these physical effects diminishes vitality and predisposes individuals to chronic diseases that profoundly impact lifespan and quality of life. Increased risk of accidents. The hidden danger. Cognitive impairments and physical fatigue resulting from chronic stress and sleep disruption substantially increase the risk of accidents, often with serious consequences. Impaired attention and slower reaction times compromise safety in the workplace, especially in high-stakes professions such as healthcare, transportation, and manufacturing. Driving while fatigued or cognitively impaired is particularly dangerous, contributing to a significant proportion of motor vehicle accidents worldwide. The combination of stress-induced distraction and sleep deprivation creates a perilous state that endangers not only the individual but others. Recognizing and mitigating these risks is essential, yet often overlooked in occupational health and public safety initiatives. Reduced quality of life. The silent erosion. Perhaps most profoundly, the intertwined effects of stress and sleep problems erode the overall quality of life. Persistent exhaustion and mental fog diminish motivation. Strategies for stress management to improve sleep, a comprehensive, holistic approach. Breaking free from the relentless cycle of stress and poor sleep is a challenge that requires a nuanced, multidimensional strategy. Addressing only one aspect, whether psychological or physiological, is rarely sufficient. Instead, an integrative approach that simultaneously calms the mind, relaxes the body, and optimizes lifestyle factors offers the best chance for restoring restful sleep and emotional balance. 1. Cognitive behavioral techniques, rewiring the mind for rest. At the heart of many sleep difficulties and stress disorders lie persistent negative thought patterns. Worrying about not sleeping, ruminating over daily stressors, or catastrophizing minor issues. Cognitive behavioral techniques target these mental habits, helping individuals reshape their relationship with sleep and stress. Cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia, CBTI. This evidence-based therapy is a structured program that guides patients to identify and challenge unhelpful beliefs about sleep, such as, "I'll never fall asleep," or "lack of sleep will ruin my life." CBTI also incorporates behavioral components, like stimulus control, associating the bed only with sleep, sleep restriction, limiting time in bed to consolidate sleep, and relaxation training. Studies consistently show CBTI is highly effective in reducing insomnia symptoms and improving sleep quality, often outperforming medication without the side effects. Mindfulness-based stress reduction, MBSR. MBSR blends meditation, body awareness, and mindful breathing to cultivate present-moment focus and reduce rumination, the mental replaying of stressful events that fuels anxiety. By fostering non-judgmental acceptance, individuals learn to observe their thoughts and emotions without being overwhelmed. Regular mindfulness practice not only lowers physiological stress markers, but also eases the transition into sleep by quieting the overactive mind. Progressive muscle relaxation, PMR. This simple yet powerful technique involves systematically tensing and then relaxing different muscle groups, from toes to head. PMR helps distinguish between tension and relaxation, training the body to release physical stress that accumulates during the day. Practicing PMR before bedtime can reduce muscle stiffness and induce a calm state conducive to falling asleep. 2. Lifestyle and sleep hygiene, foundations of restful nights. Small, consistent changes in daily habits create an environment where the body's natural sleep mechanisms can flourish. Consistent sleep schedule. Going to bed and waking up at the same times, even on weekends, strengthens the circadian rhythm, the internal biological clock that regulates sleep-wake cycles. This consistency trains the brain to anticipate sleep, making it easier to fall asleep and wake refreshed. Creating a relaxing pre-sleep routine. Activities that signal winding down, such as reading a physical book, gentle yoga stretches, or taking a warm bath, activate the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest mode. Avoiding stimulating or stressful tasks during this period prevents the mind from revving up when it should slow down. Limiting exposure to screens. Electronic devices emit blue light that suppresses melatonin production, the hormone essential for sleep induction. Ideally, screens should be turned off at least 1 hour before bedtime. If unavoidable, blue light filters or glasses can mitigate the effect. Avoiding stimulants. Caffeine, nicotine, and heavy meals close to bedtime interfere with the ability to fall asleep and reduce deep sleep. Being mindful of what and when you eat or drink supports better sleep architecture. Physical activity. Regular exercise lowers cortisol levels and increases sleep drive. However, timing is critical. Vigorous activity too close to bedtime can be stimulating, while moderate exercise earlier in the day tends to promote more restful nights. 3. Breathing and meditation practices, calming the nervous system. Breath is a powerful bridge between the conscious and unconscious, offering a direct path to calming an overactive nervous system. Diaphragmatic breathing, also known as belly breathing, this technique emphasizes slow, deep breaths using the diaphragm rather than shallow chest breathing. This stimulates the vagus nerve, activating the parasympathetic nervous system, slowing heart rate and reducing blood pressure. 4-7-8 breathing technique. Inhale quietly through the nose for 4 seconds, hold the breath for 7 seconds, then exhale audibly through pursed lips for 8 seconds. This rhythm promotes relaxation and has been shown to reduce embracing rest, reclaiming life. In today's relentless world, where the pace rarely slows and the demands on our attention and energy seem infinite, finding moments of genuine peace, both in our minds and bodies, feels nothing short of revolutionary. The modern human experience is saturated with stress, distraction, and overstimulation, leaving many trapped in cycles of exhaustion, anxiety, and restless nights. Yet, amid this chaos lies a profound truth. The intimate and powerful connection between stress and sleep offers not only a challenge, but also an extraordinary opportunity for healing and transformation. Recognizing this vital link is the first step toward reclaiming control over our well-being. Stress and sleep are deeply intertwined in a dance that can either spiral into destruction or foster renewal. When stress dominates, it hijacks our physiology and psyche, disrupting the natural rhythms that govern restorative sleep. This, in turn, deepens exhaustion and emotional turbulence, feeding back into the stress cycle like an unrelenting storm. But this cycle is not unbreakable. With intention, awareness, and compassion, we can intervene, rewriting our narrative from one of struggle to one of growth. To embark on this journey means embracing a holistic approach to health that honors the inseparability of mind and body. It means cultivating habits that quiet the mental chatter, mindfulness, breathing exercises, and meditation that gently usher us from frantic alertness into calm receptivity. It means creating sacred rituals around sleep, spaces free from noise, light, and distraction where our bodies can surrender fully and heal deeply. This path also calls for kindness toward ourselves. Too often we judge our inability to switch off or our restless nights with frustration or shame. Yet healing begins with self-compassion, acknowledging that stress and sleep difficulties are natural human experiences, not personal failings. Through patience and perseverance, we learn to meet ourselves with understanding, gently guiding our minds back when they wander, and embracing the ebb and flow of restfulness. Moreover, this journey invites us to rethink our relationship with time and productivity. In cultures that prize constant doing, prioritizing rest can feel radical or even countercultural. But true vitality and creativity spring not from endless activity, but from the harmony between effort and rest. By honoring the need for restorative sleep, we fortify our resilience to stress, enhance cognitive clarity, and enrich emotional balance, ingredients essential for thriving in every area of life. The transformational power of restoring this balance is profound. Imagine waking each morning with a sense of renewal, your mind clear, your body energized, your emotions steady. Imagine navigating challenges with equanimity rather than overwhelm, responding thoughtfully rather than reacting impulsively. This is not an abstract ideal, but an attainable reality when we commit to nurturing our sleep and managing our stress with intention. In closing, reclaiming restful sleep and mastering stress management is more than a health goal. It is a radical act of self-care and self-love that reverberates through every facet of our lives. It is an invitation to slow down, breathe deeply, and reconnect with the rhythms of nature within us. In doing so, we transform the exhausting cycle of stress and sleeplessness into a pathway toward healing, growth, and ultimately profound peace. May we all find the courage to listen to our body's whispers for rest, the wisdom to calm our racing minds, and the grace to nurture ourselves tenderly through life's inevitable storms. Because in the stillness of deep, restorative sleep, we rediscover not only health, but the vibrant essence of what it means to be fully alive.